Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. What a person will do to make a living, a kosher living, what risks he may take, is a discussion in the Shalos Teshuvos Sfarim. And Rav Moshe Feinstein quotes a Gemara, where the Gemara talks about in the Parsha, on the Pasuk, where it says, Ve'elov hu noise es nafshay, that when a person works for you, there's an obligation, pay him on time, he needs the money. And the Pasuk describes it, for his money, for his survival, he gives his soul away. What does that mean? Says Ramosha, look in the Gemara in Bava Metzia, Daf Kuf Yud Beis. The Gemara says a very interesting thing. Some jobs actually are dangerous. And there are plenty of people doing dangerous jobs to make a parnasa. For example, says the Gemara, why did this person walk up that ramp? It's a flimsy ramp. It's a ramp that's shaky. What's he doing there? Why is this other person hanging from a tree, trimming trees, cutting fruit? And put himself, God forbid, in a position that he could, chas v'shalom, die. It's a dangerous job. Wasn't it? Loi al schorei. Isn't it all for his payment? That's what you got to do to make a living. So when Moshe Feinstein was asked, is a person allowed to do a job that there is a lot of risk involved? And it's interesting. The question that was asked to Rav Moshe is if a person is allowed to play ball. Obviously, he must have been talking about football, boxing, basketball, where there's a lot of injuries. You not only to yourself, some of these sport games, you actually, part of the game is to cause damage to a friend. Are you allowed to? So Rav Moshe begins, and this is a tshuva in Siman Kuf Daled, in Choshen Mishpat Chelik Aleph Siman Kuf Daled, where he says, based on that Gemara, where the Gemara says people do loyal schari, to make a living, people do certain things that are risky. And maybe if that's what it takes to make a living, is allowed to. But then he finishes off by saying, Achar Zman Heruli, later on I was shown that in the Tshuvas from the Noida B'Yehuda, he spoke about a similar discussion about hunting. So I went to look at that Tshuva from the Noida B'Yehuda, and it's exactly what Moshe says, that an individual asks the Noida B'Yehuda, he says, I'm a wealthy man, I own a lot of land, and I own a forest, and there are animals there, and I'd like to make it a hobby for me to go out there. Am I allowed to go out there every once in a while and do some hunting? Is that, I'm asking my Rebbe, I'm asking the Rav, the Noida B'Yehuda, am I allowed to? So the first two paragraphs, the Noida B'Yehuda goes on to discuss if hunting is allowed, if it's not allowed, is it causing tsar balachayim to the animal? But obviously, if the animal stays alive, there's tsar. If you're killing the animal for a purpose, there's no tsar. And he goes through the whole halacha of tsar balachayim. But then he shifts off to two other topics about this conversation. He says, after all I spoke about tsar balachayim, the truth is, I'm a little shocked about this whole question. The concept of a person being a hunter, in the Chumash, I read about hunters, I read about Nimrod, Esav being a hunter. It's not a Yiddish trade. It's not something, we don't find it being something, an edel thing. And he goes on to speak about that. And then he says, you know what? You're actually putting yourself in danger. Hunting, it's a lot of times it works, but if you get too close, you're talking about, not talking about baby animals, you're talking about hazardous animals that could hurt a person. Who says you're allowed to, as a hobby, as a sport, do it? If it's a parnasa, if a person's a fisherman or a hunter, to sell their fur, sell their meat, then, as the Gemara says, sometimes you take a risk for parnasa. But as a hobby, how can you do that? So in the last paragraph, he says like this, Ume'ata ani omer. Let me summarize my whole drasha. Not only it's not nice, yesh b'zeh iser v'gam sakana. I think it's prohibited and it's actually dangerous, based on what I said. But there's a third point. Whenever a yid puts himself in a position where there's a sakana, so milamayla, they're watching the situation, and you're asking for specific extra help. You're not just walking on the street where everything should be, your protection is fine. You're asking for extra protection, that you put yourself in this position of danger. Please, Hashem, don't let this dangerous situation harm me. You're asking for extra protection. So you're asking for them to overlook and open your accounting and see what you deserve and what you don't deserve. You know that the Gemara says that a person is not allowed to put himself in that position, because every time you go in the position of a sakana, they open up the books all over again. And you have to, therefore the Gemara in Bracha says that you have to say a special tefillah every time you are in a makom sakana. Hamahalach b'makom sakana mispalo tefillah katsari. You have to say a special tefillah. And Noda B'Yehuda says, imagine, Esav, the mighty hunter. Esav says, Hineni ani haylech lamus. He spoke and he says, I think I don't know, I'm about to die. Why did Esav say that? Esav said that because he knew that his job was a dangerous job. He never knew if he's going to make it back from the hunting business. So if Esav considered and the expert hunter considered as a sakana, how could you jump yourself into this position? Especially when you're asking for extra help, when maskirin avinosev shaladim, that they open the book and they start looking, what have you done for them lately? So the Noda B'Yehuda and the Rav Moshe Feinstein say, when you're looking for a job, two things. First of all, it has to have a Yiddish tam. Yes, you can work hard. Work hard, but it has to have a Yiddish tam. It has to be what we know people do normally. You cannot put yourself in a position of a sakana because instance it's a sakana. And second of all, when you put yourself in a position of sakana, you're asking for extra help. Do you really deserve that extra help?